So no one's in the Fairbanks office right now? Okay.
No one has arrived yet.
Okay.
How about there?
We don't have anybody in the office here, so I'm gonna wait a few minutes and see if anybody joins us online.
Yes.
And hopefully Lyda will be able to hear them.
Set your speaker up. I think I plugged it in.
Yeah, I turned it on.
Okay.
So we'll get started in just a minute. I went ahead, if anybody's online, I went ahead and put up here, if you can see this, the materials that we need in order to complete this activity. So if you're online and you're watching us, then you can go ahead and start gathering your materials if you'd like. And we're going to get started in just a minute. We had a participant come in
Okay.
for the thing.
So he's here,
Yes.
working on it.
Okay, if anybody is joining us online, we are about to get started in just a couple of minutes. We just had some people walk in the door in our Anchorage office. So we're going to try and get everybody set up so we can start together. And so I have the materials posted if you can see that, and you can start gathering what you're going to need. Also, if you are online watching us, if you could click and turn your camera and your microphone off on your computer, your display should look like this one on the top whenever you come online. And if you click these two buttons right here, then it will turn them red and your speaker and your microphone will be off, and then we won't get any surprise pictures of your face on the screen. So if you're at home, you can do that also.
I have no charges.
And I'll give you a few minutes.
No training. I have no way what? Well, let me. She can come in and sit in the room and watch there.
What's happening?
Just wondering if we'd be able
I
to
gotta find the.
see you in there, but I think I'll just get on the streaming thing on the laptop.
Okay.
Let me try to put it on the big screen.
So if you're just joining us online, we were going over some things that you could do while we're waiting for everybody live to get settled. You can, this is what your screen should look like when you first come to the site. And if you could click the microphone and the video camera buttons and turn them from green to red, then your microphone and your camera will be turned off, and that will be very helpful for us because if not, sometimes your picture pops up in the middle of the presentation. So we don't want to bother you with that happening. The other thing is, if you are at home or in the office, if we could have you go to our site whenever you're on the website and you click on the course, you have a variety of choices as to what you can do. We will need you to go and under October, not September, but if you go under October, make and take, then you can sign in, and we'd appreciate it if you could do that. We also have the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation that you can download and print in PDF and in PowerPoint format. We also have pre-test, post-test, and evaluation. And so we ask that before we get started, if you could take a pre-test. And I'm hoping that that link is up for SurveyMonkey. If it is not up for SurveyMonkey, then I am going to ask you to email the answers to your pretest to, I'm going to write my email address right here. If I could. So if you are not able to get the SurveyMonkey for your pretest, then go ahead and email your answers to your pretest to me here at kjames, K-J-A-M-E-S, at CISA.org. And you can just write the letter answers for the pretest in an email and just shoot it out to me. And then you'll also have on this site, you have your templates to download. So the things that we're going to make tonight, if you want to go ahead and download and print those and have those ready. So, and then we also have an assignment section where at the end of the make and take, we ask that you take a picture of yourself with your visual schedule that we're making tonight and shoot it to us. You're going to upload it under assignment. And then that's going to be your assignment for the course. So if you would like to take this course for credit, then up here we also have a registration form for UAF. And you must complete all of the courses, but you don't have to do them live. So we're going to post each course on our website after it's done. And so you can still go back to this site. You can watch the video of us doing it, so when we did it live, and you can participate along with that. And then you can complete all of these things and turn them in, and then you can get credit for that session. So if you complete all the sessions, then you can get a credit through UAF. So feel free to print that registration form. Let us know if you need any help with that, and we'll be happy to help you. So everybody could go ahead and sign in, print anything they might need for the session, and take your pre-test. That would be great. And for those of you that are streaming this live, if you called the teleconference number that was on the flyer, then Lida is on the other end and she can answer any questions that you may have. So take a few minutes and go ahead and complete those things, and we will try and start here in about 5 minutes. That's not working. 5 minutes. So those of you online, if you would like to call into our teleconference number, then you can talk. You can ask questions. You can stop us, let us know anything you might have some trouble with or might need. That number is located on your flyer, and it's 1-800-315-6338. And then when you're prompted to enter your code, you will enter 2272. So that's 1-800-315-6338. The code is 2272.
We got them set up in there.
Huh?
We got them set up in there.
Okay, good.
It's just, it looks really dark on over the web stream.
Hmm.
But
Can you see the PowerPoint on the web stream?
You can see the PowerPoint. You just look like a
I don't care what I look
shade. I like your boots.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, so if you're just joining us, we were going and we were looking at the site and having everybody complete the sign-in, pre-test. If you're not able to get onto the SurveyMonkey, then you can email your pre-test answers to me at kjames@cisa.org. And then we were looking at, here's your templates that you can click on and print. And also we have a registration form if you'd like a credit through UAF. And also this is where you're going to upload your assignment whenever you're done. So take a picture of yourself with your visual schedule, upload it right there, and that will be your assignment if you would like to get credit or if you just like to show off your work. We also, since last time, we have the materials posted right here, so if you need to gather any materials. But also since last time, we have found out that we're able to offer distance participants. So anybody that is doing this session from your home via the live streaming, then we're going to be able to send you free materials kits that will have all the materials that you need for every session to complete every support that we're going to make along the way. And so all you need to do is email Lyda at lbaker@cisa.org, and she can, with your address, your physical address, and she can send you out a materials kit. And so it'll have all the stuff you'll need, like Velcro, cardstock, I think it has markers, it has colored pencils, glue sticks, packing tape, all kinds of fun stuff. So that's a great thing. It's we are using the funds raised from the Anchorage Autism Walk in April. So that we're gonna have those materials paid for all you guys across the state. So just let us know if you'd like materials sent to you. The other thing is that if you're just coming on, then in your own live streaming, then your screen should look like this. And so if you could click the microphone and the camera, and that will turn it off, we'd appreciate it. And we're also, if you'd like the credits through UAF, and you missed any of the sessions or you can't attend them live, we're going to put them on our website and you can go back and do them at your own time. As long as you submit the assignments, then you will get credit for that session. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Oop. My PowerPoint's doing funny things again.
What's doing?
It's doing that auto slideshow thing where it just flips through all of them.
Don't know.
So we'll go ahead and get started now. So this whole session that we're doing, this whole 10 months that we're doing, is all about visual supports. And so one of the things we wanted to start with this month, since last month we kind of got the basics down. We kind of got how do you find your symbols, how do you get those into your computer, how do you manipulate them, what materials can you use if you don't have access to Velcro, to laminators, all of these things. So this week we kind of wanted to give you a little bit of information about why visuals are valuable. Well, visuals are valuable to individuals with autism because people with autism sometimes have difficult understanding what they hear, understanding what you're saying to them, so that auditory. sometimes it's more difficult for them to process it, or it takes longer. So if you add a visual cue with the auditory, then sometimes it helps with the processing. A lot of people with autism have strengths in visual skills. Visuals also provide a nonverbal message that stays. So whenever I say words to you, they're very transient. There's no little bubble that comes out that has the words that I just said written out beside my head. So not like a cartoon character. So whenever I say words, they're not visible. They're gone. Once they're out of my mouth, they're not there anymore. Visuals aren't like that though, because when you use a visual, whenever you have something communicated with a visual, it's there. It's not transient. So you can always refer back to it and keep looking at it. So that's one reason that visuals are important. And then the other thing is that the use of visuals is not determined by a person's ability to talk. So sometimes we'll have people say to us, well, he doesn't need visual supports because he knows how to talk. But the thing is that the use of visuals is not to replace communication or to replace that verbal ability. The use of visuals is for processing, for understanding the information that's given to you, for being able to see your expectations visually represented. It's not determined by your ability to be able to use verbal language. So, a lot of people also say, well, visuals aren't real life. And so they think that we shouldn't use visuals with individuals with autism because they say, well, that's not real life. Whenever they get to be adults, they won't have visuals available. But we all use visuals every day. This is a menu at McDonald's, and you can see how visual it is. And we all go into McDonald's and we look at this menu and we choose what we want. So visuals are real life. You can see right here, we have signs for the restroom. We know without even having the word men or women on the bathroom, whenever we look at if we have a little triangle on one little stick figure, it's a girl's restroom. If we have just two legs with pants, then it's a boy's restroom. So we know that visual cue is there, and it's real life. We use it every day.
We've lost you, so
Oh,
we're
okay.
just gonna join you.
Did you crash?
You wanna
Come on in. New technology.
Thanks. Thank you. This is the Drew Barrymore movie.
The Drew Barrymore. Okay, so we're getting resettled. So, and my PowerPoint has decided to go on that autoplay again.
That's maybe what. Yeah.
So, pop quiz for everyone. How many of you have a calendar to write things on that you organize your life with? Oh, we have one. Mine is not in the room, but it's very valuable. Anybody do a to-do list? Have a to-do list on your refrigerator? A shopping list? Whenever you send your spouse to the grocery store, my husband can't remember more than 3 things at a time, so if it's more than 3, it has to go on the shopping list. Have you ever gone into a restaurant that maybe the menu was printed in a different language and had pictures and you pointed to what you want? Have you ever written notes to your family members to remind them of things, or ever read a sign to tell you where to stand in line, which door to exit from? If you've done any of those things, then you have used visual supports. And so, yes, this is a quote by Janet Lawrence, but yes, we could possibly live without visual supports, but our diets would be restricted to recipes that we can memorize, and our travel limited only to the known and familiar. By using visual supports, we expand our ability to achieve and grow. So we all use visuals in our daily life, and they are real life. So the visual support we're going to do today is we're going to make visual schedules. And so visual schedules, they communicate the expectations of the day. They're a really great support because laid out on the schedule, you have everything that the person is expected to do in a day. So they automatically know what your expectations are. They show the order that the events are happening. They show when preferred activities are going to take place. So if, with this schedule right here, if the person was using this schedule, then they would know that they have 2 activities before they get their break. So they know that once I finish these things, then I'm going to get to do something I really like to do, but I just have to get through these things first. So sometimes it makes it easier to last through the things you don't quite like whenever you know there's things coming up that you do like. And so they also show how much has been completed and when you're finished. So whenever you're going through this schedule, as you go through, you're pulling things off and you know what's been done because you're putting them in the all done section. And so then at the end, then you know when everything's complete and when you're finished. So this little visual schedule gives a lot of information on just this one little area. And all of this information, like we talked about last time, helps to reduce anxiety. Because when expectations are clear, when people know what's expected of them, when things end, how much they have to do, that reduces anxiety. So here is a visual schedule done with real objects, because sometimes you may have a person that may not understand, may not be able to look at a picture or look at a symbol and get meaning from that symbol or that picture. So you may have to start with something like this visual schedule, where it's just a toothbrush on the card means we go brush your teeth. So we use these a lot with very, very young children and also children that have significant cognitive disabilities. So maybe if they're not able to understand those pictures. But we're always thinking about moving them to the next level. So you can see on this visual schedule, there's the picture is in the corner with the word, and so we're always trying to move them up the ladder into a more symbolic form of communication. So this schedule would be kind of a next level schedule. This little boy, he has these symbols right here that you see are board maker symbols. So these are line drawings. You can do the same thing, just drawing with a pen. And he also has some photographs. So he's still working with like half photograph, half line drawings, because line drawings are more symbolic than photographs, because photographs are a real life representation. Line drawings is just a picture drawing. You can see like stick figures. So it's more difficult to understand a line drawing than it is a photograph. So you can see he's kind of transitioning between pictures and line drawings. In this schedule, this person is using all line drawings on their schedule. And you can see they have a lot of activity, 14 things in a row on their schedule that they go through. So this person is using all line drawings and also has the word there. So you can see we always want to keep the word on there so we can try and move up to just having the word on the schedule. And this schedule would be something more like we would use. So once a person is able to just use the words and be able to look at the word bus and understand what that means and what the expectations are, then you can just write the word on their schedule. This one's a checklist, so they can just check it off. If they don't need the pictures, then we don't have to give them the pictures. So why do we use schedules? We use schedules for one reason, to be able to reduce the anxiety that we were talking about, clearly communicate the expectations. But we also know that individuals with autism have a lot of trouble sometimes with change. When changes in routines, when things are different, when something happens out of the ordinary, when someone their teacher is regularly at school and they have a substitute teacher, So changes in routine can be very difficult. So with visual schedules, we're teaching them to use a visual schedule. We're supporting them, we're getting them to trust in this schedule. And then ultimately we want to use this schedule to be able to teach them to deal with change. Because none of us like change. So I think of this as my teacher right here. So change, why didn't they tell me I was getting a new student? This is the joke of we special ed teachers, you know how sometimes you find out that you're getting a new student from the bus driver? And so all of a sudden it's like the bus pulls up in front of the school and they're like, here's your new student. Oh, didn't know I had a new student. So my whole schedule will have to change. They changed the IEP forms again, and you know what that word is. And then could we be creating this same stress for the people that we're working with, for our children, for our students? Because if we're not supporting the changes with some type of visual schedule and teaching them to deal with change, then they're likely to feel like this all the time. And that's not good for anybody. It's stressful, it causes anxiety, and it doesn't have very good outcomes. So what we want to do is we don't want to just prevent change. Some people that you'll talk to will say, well, my child has a very difficult time with change, so I just try and stick to the same routine day after day and not make any changes because I don't want to upset them. And that's really hard to do because change is real life. We don't know when things are going to happen that are unexpected. We can't just say that we're going to not change anything because change happens without our control. So we're not psychic. Change is inevitable. We have to teach the children that we work with to be able to trust in the schedule and then to be able to understand when things change and find a way to deal with that. So some of the things on visual schedules that we're going to use to teach change is this. You can use whatever symbol you want, but I like the lightning bolt because it kind of signals, whoop, something new is going on. So change, and then this is the universal symbol for no. So the big red circle with the line through it. We're not going to do this. So these are two symbols that I really like to use to teach change. And so what we typically do is we'll have a visual schedule like this. We'll have a lightning bolt in front of the activity, and we'll say, that says, whoop, there's a change in your schedule. So there's been a change. The speech therapist is not able to come today. So instead, we are going to go outside and play on the playground. So you're telling them, look, there's a change. We're not doing this. Instead, we're going to do this. So we're teaching them to be able to deal with that change and to show what we can do instead whenever a change happens. So this helps to prevent some of those things that we may see whenever changes are kind of thrown at our children. So here's another way to do it on your written schedule. So maybe you just use this little checklist and change. We're not going to ride the bus today. Instead, Grandma's going to pick you up. So all you have to do is visually represent that change. With this one, we just used crossed out. We just crossed out through the bus. So now we are going to work on making our own visual schedule. So I have the steps written out for you step by step for you to refer to and go back to. But we've recorded a video of us doing it in advance because we learned that last time you guys online were not able to see us very well. So we're going to let you watch the video, and then we are going to set the timer and make our own visual schedule. Start making our own visual schedule. So the first thing we're going to do is get our symbols. So here's the video.
And I've downloaded them from Google Images and I've pasted them into a Word document. And I'm then going to cut them from this document and place them into another document that'll be my actual visual schedule. So to make a visual schedule, I'm first going to open up a new Word document, file, new blank document. And I'm going to use the table function in Word to create this visual schedule. And I'm going to pick just one column of 4 rows. And that's pretty tiny there. So what this visual schedule is it is to help a person, a student, get ready for school. And the first thing that's going to be on it is to eat breakfast, then to get dressed, then to pack their bag, and then the idea of going to school. So I'm going to start by typing those words into these rows. The first I'm writing the get breakfast, going down to the next row for get dressed, then pack bag, and the final one is go to school. The reason I started with typing the words is I found through trial and error that it's the best way to work within the table. It gives you the most control over the space. So then I'm going to go back up to get breakfast. And I'm going to return it a few times so that I make space for the first picture. Also, I'm going to make this smaller so that I have a better view of what I'm doing.
Remote and zoom it in onto the thing.
So I'm going to go over here, click on the pilot bread picture, and right-click for copy. And I'll come over to this document and right-click for paste, and paste that picture in. And I'm going to go down to the get dressed, and I'm just going to pick the picture of the cuspid for get dressed. Again, right-click on it for copy. Come back over to my other document, right-click for paste. Same thing with pack bag. Click next to bag, return it a few times, then go over, right-click on the picture of the bag for copy, back to this document, right-click for paste. And let's do our last one, school. And I'll go back to this document, right-click on the four-wheeler for copy. Back here, right-click for paste. Okay, so we now have the words, we have the pictures, now we have to make it look pretty. So then I'm going to go over to the edge to where I get the symbol that means I'm right on the line, and I'm going to left click on that line and hold the left click down and pull that line over and make it smaller. So now we have a more decent space that our visual schedule is in. Then I'm going to click on the bottom of this box and start deleting to bring the space up a little more. Go down to the Get Dressed box, again at the bottom. And it takes Word a little bit of time to catch up with what you're doing on the keyboard or the mouse. Do it the same thing for the pack bag. And or the four-wheeler. So if you find that your pictures are too big or too small, you can now adjust them within your schedule. So I like the size of the pilot bread. I think the custom could be a little bigger. So if I click on that picture, that allows me to work with it. I'm going to try to readjust it, and I really can't because. So I'm going to just pull it from the corner and make it just a little bigger. It takes Word a little bit of time to do that. If I want it more centered, there's probably a couple ways to do it. So I can click after the words and do my down arrow key, and two down arrows puts me beside the picture, and then I can use the space bar to move it over. And again, it takes Word a little bit of time to respond. I'm going to do the same thing with pack bag. Centered. And same thing with our four-wheeler. And maybe I can make this four-wheeler a little bigger. I'm going to pull up the left corner. See if that looks a little bit bigger. All right, so we now have, lower this to 100%. We now have the beginning of our visual schedule.
Okay. So, your first task is to begin your visual schedule. So go ahead and we're going to set the timer for 20 minutes. And if I could get you, maybe not 20, maybe 15. And so if I could get you to download your pictures from the internet or use pictures that you've taken in the past that are relevant for your schedule that you're making. Paste your pictures into a word processing document. And then we're going to create the table just like in the video and type the words along with the pictures, and then we'll go ahead and let you size them up and get them all ready to go. So let's go ahead and set the timer for 15 minutes. And I'm going to play the video again too during the 15 minutes so that you can see that again if you need to. And also I wanted to say again that anyone that is live online, if you would haven't called in the teleconference number and you would like to, that number is 1-800-315-6338. You'll follow the voice prompts and enter the code 2272, and then that will allow you to talk to us and ask any questions if you might have them. So again, that number is 1-800-315-6338, and your code is 2272. So go ahead and get started, and I'm going to play the video again for you in case you'd like to see the process again.
So here are some pictures that were downloaded from the internet to use with this evening's make and take, which is the visual schedule. And I've downloaded them from Google Images and I've pasted them into a Word document. And I'm then going to cut them from this document and place them into another document that'll be my actual visual schedule. So to make a visual schedule, I'm first going to open up a new Word document, file, new blank document. And I'm going to use the table function in Word to create this visual schedule. And I'm going to pick just one column of 4 rows. And that's pretty tiny there. So what this visual schedule is it is to help a person, a student, get ready for school. And the first thing that's going to be on it is to eat breakfast, then to get dressed, then to pack their bag, and then the idea of going to school. So I'm going to start by typing those words into these rows. The first I'm writing the get breakfast, going down to the next row for get dressed, then pack bag, and the final one is going to school. The reason I started with typing the words is I found through trial and error that it's the best way to work within the table. It gives you the most control over the space. So then I'm going to go back up to get breakfast, and I'm going to return it a few times so that I make space for the first picture. Also, I'm going to make this smaller so that I have a better view of what I'm doing. So I'm going to go over here, click on the pilot bread picture, and right-click for copy. Then I'll come over to this document and right-click for paste, and paste that picture in. Then I'm going to go down to the get dressed, and I'm just going to pick the picture of the cuspic for get dressed. Again, right-click on it for copy. Come back over to my other document, right-click for paste. Same thing with pack bag. Click next to bag, return it a few times, then go over, right-click on the picture of the bag for copy, back to this document, right-click for paste.
The old canvas fall apart.
And let's do our last one, school. And I'll go back to this document, right-click on the four-wheeler, for copy. Back here, right-click on paste.
What else we can do with that?
Okay, so we now have
Have it on a DVD like that.
the words, we have the pictures, now we have to make it look pretty. So then I'm going to go over to the edge to where I get the symbol that means I'm right on the line, and I'm going to left click on that line and hold the left click down and pull that line over and make it smaller. So now we have a more decent space that our visual schedule is in. Then I'm going to click on the bottom of this box and start deleting to bring the space up a little more. Go down to the get dressed box, again at the bottom. And it takes Word a little bit of time to catch up with what you're doing on the keyboard or the mouse. And I'll do it the same thing for the pack bag. And for the four-wheeler. So if you find that your pictures are too big or too small, you can now adjust them within your schedule. So I like the size of the pilot bread. I think the cuspic could be a little bigger. So if I click on that picture, that allows me to work with it. I'm going to try to readjust it. I really can't. So I'm going to just pull it from the corner and make it just a little bigger. It takes Word a little bit of time to do that. If I want it more centered, there's probably a couple ways to do it. So I can click after the words and do my down arrow key, and two down arrows puts me beside the picture, and then I can use the space bar to move it over. And again, it takes Word a little bit of time to respond. I'm going to do the same thing with the pack bag. Centered. Same thing with our four-wheeler. And maybe I can make this four-wheeler a little bigger. I'm going to pull up the left corner. See what happens. A little bit bigger. All right, so we now have, lower this to 100%. We now have the beginning of our visual schedule.
And we can even do stuff like, if you want, record your audio and properly put it together. Yeah. You don't have to. He would go into the whole visual stuff, and now, for all the stuff, and then something trying to do it, just back. Each one would have been better than the one before, and by now they've got really good space shuttles.
Okay, everyone, so it looks like we have about 7 minutes left for everybody to finish their downloading the pictures from the internet, pasting the pictures into a document so they're handy, opening up another document, creating your table, type the name of the word that you want to use to go along with your picture into your space of the table, and then adjusting the size and getting it all ready to print. And you can go ahead and print that, and we'll move on to the next phase in about 5 minutes. Okay, so I hope everybody's finished and we're ready to get back started. We are finished here in the Anchorage office. So we're going to go ahead and go on to the next step. So the next step is putting your schedule together. So we also have this on video. So what you're going to do is you're going to print your schedule if you haven't already printed it. If you want to print it on cardstock, if you have cardstock, it's just a little thicker paper, and you might really like to have the durability of cardstock. If you don't have cardstock, it's no big deal. You can print it on regular paper. You can use color or black and white ink, whatever you want to. If you want color pictures but you don't have color ink, then you can use some markers or colored pencils to color those in. If you print on plain paper and you think that it's not durable enough and you'd like it to be thicker, then you can just mount that picture onto anything. Like you can get an old cereal box, you can get a piece of an egg carton, anything to just make it a little bit more stiff before you laminate, and that will help you to make a little bit more durable of a symbol if you don't have cardstock to print on. So then we want you to cut it out and then laminate. If you don't have a laminator, it's no big deal. You can use packing tape, you can use contact paper, anything that you can also use Ziploc bags. So anything that you'd like to use just to protect the surface. You don't have to have a laminator. And then after you laminate, then you're going to take sandpaper and emery board, anything to just scratch and rough up the surface of the laminating film, and that will help your Velcro to stick better. Because sometimes it just pulls right off if you don't sand it first. So then you're going to apply your Velcro. Our rule of thumb is soft stationary, so you put the soft side on the thing that doesn't move, and this rough scratchy side on the thing that does move, like the symbol. You can also use sticky putty, tape, magnet tape, anything like that that you want to use if you don't have Velcro. And now we're going to go ahead and let you make the schedule, but I have a video first, so we'll let you watch that.
Okay, so we now have our visual schedule printed out, and I've prettied it up a little bit. I've centered everything. I've made the outline darker. So now my suggestion is that you cut this visual schedule out. And this is printed on cardstock to make it a little more durable. And it could be used simply like this if that's what would work best for you.
I'm going to pause this just a minute, and because I think we're having some technical stuff going on. So if you are live streaming, then I know this is a weird new thing, but if you're live streaming on your computer, then make sure that this is what your screen should look like. So make sure that you click on your microphone and the camera to turn those buttons red, and that will turn your camera and your microphone off on your computer, and then we won't get the feedback, and we won't accidentally have your face pop up on the screen. Unless you like your face showing on the screen, then that's fine too. So if you could go ahead and do that if you're doing the live streaming, and we will go back to the video.
Walk off.
Okay, so we now have our visual schedule printed out, and I've prettied it up a little bit. I've centered everything. I've made the outline darker. So now my suggestion is that you cut this visual schedule out. And this is printed on cardstock to make it a little more durable. And it could be used simply like this if that's what would work best for you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it even a little more durable, and I'm going to attach it to this cardboard folder. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut it out to be about the same size as my visual schedule. Then I'm going to cut these pieces into separate pieces. And the next step to make it more durable would be to laminate it, or to use the clear packing tape, or to use clear contact film. I'm pretty lucky because I have the laminator. And I'm going to take a piece of folder I cut, and start using the laminator. So like I said, though, you could use anything clear. So then we get to do some more fun cutting. And it's probably best to cut just a little bit away from the edge of the paper, just to ensure that that lamination doesn't come apart. This is the same procedure whether you're doing 4 pictures or whether you're doing a whole day's schedule, which could include maybe 15. And it's nice if you get a whole bunch of people together and have a nice little party while you're doing this, because it's a lot of cutting, a lot of laminating. Okay, almost. So now everything is a little more durable. And the next step would be if you have some sandpaper, just take a little bit of sandpaper and we burnish the surface here of the part that's going to be the actual holder of the pictures here. That sounds a little weird, but I don't know how else to describe it. So I'm just kind of roughing this up a little bit. I guess I could be a little more scientific about it and kind of see where it's going to actually have the pictures. Because then we're going to put Velcro in those fonts. And this just helps the Velcro stay, so that when the person is pulling this picture off, they don't keep pulling the Velcro off with it. So the next step is the Velcro. And there's 2 surfaces on the Velcro, a soft and a rough surface. And we always put the soft part down first, and then the rough part on the individual pictures that will be pulled off. And you could use just tape if you had to. You could use the putty, whatever makes it handy, especially if you're just making a schedule for a specific event, like a field trip or something. Doesn't look like that spacing is so good. A little bit. So the pictures. These challenges my dexterity. Just a matter of taking the time. Putting it all together. And make some really cool tabs. They just pull right off the paper, but they're very pricey. So we just do it the low-tech way. And I hope everyone is feeling for me at this point. Okay, so there is the completed visual schedule.
Okay, so I hope the video helped you guys, because those are our next steps. We're going to complete just what Lyda did in the video, and I am going to go ahead and set the timer for, let me see how we're doing on time. I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for 20 minutes for you guys to be able to get all that done. So if you are watching this via the live streaming, then if you have any questions or if you just want to listen in while you're making this, then remember that you can call our 1-800 number and 1-800-315-6338. And whenever they prompt you to enter the PIN, then enter 2272, and then you'll be right here with us, and we can answer any questions that you may have or help you. Also remember, if you're watching it live, that we have free materials kits available, and we can mail those out to you, and then you'll have the materials to make all of the 10 projects for the Make and Take series. So be sure to email Lyda at lbaker@cesa.org, and we can get those kits out to you. Those are being funded by donations at the Anchorage Autism Walk. So it's a great opportunity for anybody that's not able to come into our office. So I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and play the video one more time for you to watch while you're finishing your schedule. And then after we get the schedule done,
Okay,
we're
so we
going
now
to go ahead and practice using how to teach our schedule.
Everything. I've made the outline darker. So now my suggestion is that you cut this visual schedule out. And this is printed on cardstock to make it a little more durable. And it could be used simply like this if that's what would work best for you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it even a little more durable, and I'm going to attach it to this cardboard folder. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut it out to be about the same size as my visual schedule. Then I'm going to cut these pieces into separate pieces. And the next step to make it more durable would be to laminate it, or to use the clear packing tape, or to use clear contact film. I'm pretty lucky because I have the laminator. And I'm going to take a piece of folder I cut, and start putting it in the laminator. Like I said, though, you could use anything clear. So then we get to do some more fun cutting. And it's probably best to cut just a little bit away from the edge of the paper, just to ensure that that lamination doesn't come apart. And this is the same procedure whether you're doing 4 pictures or whether you're doing a whole day's schedule, which could include maybe 15. And it's nice if you get a whole bunch of people together and have a nice little party while you're doing this, because it's a lot of cutting, a lot of laminating. Okay, almost there. So now everything is a little more durable. And the next step would be if you have some sandpaper, just take a little bit of sandpaper and we burnish the surface here of the part that's going to be the actual holder of the pictures here. That sounds a little weird, but I don't know how else to describe it. So I'm just kind of roughing this up a little bit. I guess I could be a little more scientific about it and kind of see where it's going to actually have the pictures. Because then we're going to put Velcro in those fonts. And this just helps the Velcro stay, so that when the person is pulling this picture off, they don't keep pulling the Velcro off with it. So the next step is the Velcro. And there's two surfaces on the Velcro, a soft and a rough surface. And we always put the soft part down first, and then the rough part on the individual pictures that will be pulled off. And you could use just tape if you had to. You could use the putty, whatever makes it handy, especially if you're just making a schedule for a specific event, like a field trip or something. Doesn't look like that spacing so good. So the pictures. These challenges my dexterity. Just a matter of taking the time. Putting it all together. And make some really cool tabs that just pull right off the paper, but they're very pricey. So we just do it the low-tech way. And I hope everyone is feeling for me at this point. Okay, so there is the completed visual schedule.
So we're gonna go ahead and practice using our schedule. I brought Lida in here from the other room to assist me. So once you have this amazing, beautiful schedule that you've created, some more beautiful than others probably, but that's okay. We have to, just because we have made this really wonderful schedule, doesn't mean that the person that we're supporting is going to automatically understand how to use it, to understand what it's for. They're not going to automatically understand what they need to do with it. So we can make the most beautiful schedule. We can order schedules from companies that are beautiful, well-made, plastic. You even have schedules that talk. But if you don't teach the person how to use it, if it's not meaningful to them, if they can't look at the symbols or the pictures that you use and get meaning from those, then it's not going to be worth anything to them because it's not going to be functional. So sometimes we'll go into schools and we'll have a schedule, we'll see a visual schedule posted on the wall. And so you might go in one day on a Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning and the schedule might say math. And then you might go in a month later on a Friday at noon and nobody's in the classroom, everybody's at the cafeteria, but the schedule still says math. So obviously, if the schedule's not being used and it's not being used consistently, then the person's not going to be able to get meaning from it. So we can't just hang it on the wall or put it in their binder and expect them to just use it. We have to teach them how to do it. So how do we do that? That's what we're going to go over now. So,
You may want to zoom out. We can't see much. You might want to zoom out.
oh, you're having trouble seeing me, huh? Let's try and zoom out a little bit. It's a good thing I have Lida keeping watch for me. Is that better? Okay. So, whenever we're teaching a visual schedule, we're going to use prompting, just like we teach anything else. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to give the natural cue. So what is it that in your home, if you were going to tell all your kids, not just your child with autism, to get in the car, to go to school, what would you say? In my house, I would be like, time to go. And so that's my natural cue. That's the natural cue that I would give to anybody that it's time to go get in the car. So if that's my natural cue, that's what I would use with anybody. Same in a classroom. What would be the natural cue that you would give all the students to be able to say line up? Would you say, okay, everybody line up? If that's what you would tell everyone in the classroom, then that's your natural cue. So the first thing you want to do is give the natural cue. And then you're going to wait for a response. So you're going to wait to see if the child or the person that you're supporting does it on their own. Because sometimes it takes longer for people with autism to process what they're, when they hear a cue. So you give it just a little bit to wait and see if they go ahead and start to do that on their own. Then what we're going to do is we're going to physically motor the person through the process of using the schedule. That's if they don't respond to our natural cue. So if I wanted all the kids in my classroom or all the kids in my house to go get in the car, then I would say, okay, time to go. And then if I would wait to see if my child naturally on their own followed the rest of the kids out to the car. If they didn't, or wait to see if they automatically went to their schedule and pulled off the icon. So if they didn't, then I'm going to hang this up here and see if we get it. So Lida's my child, my little child. See if if I can get Lida to stand up here in the camera. So if I said, get in the car, and I waited, and Lida didn't move, didn't do anything, then I would come behind her, and I'm going to physically use my body proximity and physical prompting to motor her towards her schedule. And so I'm going to wait and see if she goes for the schedule herself. If not, I'm going to provide some prompting by physical prompting, lifting her hand, guiding it to the symbol that she needs to pull off, actually physically pulling it off. And then if she's not even focusing on the picture, then I can point to the picture. And then we're going to go to the car. So the whole time I'm doing this, I'm being completely silent. I'm staying behind her and out of her line of sight, because I want her to learn to be independent, to do it independently and not rely on seeing and hearing me to be able to get her to go through that process. So that's how I would initially teach the schedule. And then what I would do, because once we have taught the schedule and once we're prompting the person, then we want to make sure that we don't keep providing prompts that we don't need. So we try to make the person we're supporting independent. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some prompting procedures in order to fade the prompts that we're giving, to use less invasive prompts for the person that we're supporting. So one of the things that we're going to do is called backwards chaining. So in backwards chaining, if you think about this as a chain, the reach, the grab, and the pulling off the symbol. So usually, once you prompt a person to use a schedule, once you get them to this point where they've already grabbed it, then usually them bringing it to them, you can start to let go, lighten up your touch. And they usually get that part first, and that's the part that they might get independently at first. So we're going to fade our prompts from the end of the chain. So pulling off the symbol is the first thing I would fade, because once they have their hand on it and they're already grabbing it, the natural sequence is they usually will pull it off. So that's the part we want to fade first. Then we're going to fade the grab. So then maybe I'm prompting them to reach, and then I'm going to lighten my touch and for the grab part. And then eventually I want to fade my prompting for the reach. So that's backwards chaining, and real simple because you can feel how much pressure, how much prompting you're doing for the person. The other thing you can do is use what we call some different prompting techniques to be able to decrease the amount of prompting you're giving. So if you're giving full hand-over-hand assistance, you actually have their hand and you're making them grab the symbol by using your hand and putting it over theirs and making them go through the procedure, then that's hand-over-hand assistance. So you can fade that hand-over-hand assistance down to full physical prompting, which just might be moving their hand and not putting and making them do the whole sequence. So if you're using full physical prompting and they're starting to get that, then you can start to use partial physical prompting. So maybe you just touch their arm and it goes up. Maybe you just touch their elbow or their wrist. And so that would be fading back to a partial physical prompt. And so then once they're using a partial physical prompt, then we want to fade to where they're actually doing it independently. So when they're doing it independently, then we want to start fading our body proximity. So we want to start moving further and further away from the person so that they're doing it more and more independently and not relying on us standing next to them to be able to do the schedule. So now we're going to have everyone practice. So if you have a partner, great. If you don't have a partner, don't worry about it. You can do like I did, use your own hand. But what I would like you to do is I would like you to practice with the schedule that you've made. I would like you to practice that initial teaching of the visual schedule using full hand-over-hand assistance and using your body proximity to guide a person with your physical prompting. And then see if you can also work on how you would fade those prompts. So going from hand-over-hand assistance to full physical prompting, to partial physical prompting. Try and practice that and see if you can get a sense of how that would work with a person that you're working with. So we're going to give you about 5 minutes to practice. And if you are watching us live and you'd like to ask some questions or you need some help, then don't hesitate to call. We'll be sitting by and we can answer your questions. But our number for the teleconference line is 1-800-315-6338. And if you could enter the code 2272 whenever you're prompted, and then we can answer any of your questions that you may have. So, go ahead and get started with your practice. Were you able to practice with your schedule? Everybody feel comfortable? Like you can go home or go to school tomorrow and use your visual schedule with the person you're supporting? Feel good about it? Yeah? If not, send it. Yeah. If not, then you guys just call Lyda and I are at the AARC office. Our number here is 334-1300, and ask. Well, I'll be out of town, so you can ask to talk to Lyda. But we can do some further explaining if maybe you're having some difficulties and you don't want to speak up over the web. So, but feel free to email us, call us if you have any kind of problems. So, if we don't have any questions, any concerns, I didn't hear any concerns on the teleconference line while I was sitting in there listening, then we will go ahead and dismiss for the night. But before you dismiss, please think about coming back next month. We have a brand new project. It'll be same time, November 9th, 5:30 to 7:30. We'll have in-person, live streaming, just like we've had tonight. Our topic will be using age-appropriate supports. So how do we support our individuals once they get past our little kids' age, once they get to be adolescents, adults, out in the workplace? So how do we make supports that will work for them? Our project, we're going to make some really cool calendars. And remember that you can always go back online after, and we're going to get these sessions posted. We don't have session 1 posted yet, but it's coming soon. Be on the lookout for it. And you can always go through and go back to your Moodle. I'm going to pull this up, go back to our site. And so you'll be able to go to our website. You can click, watch the video. You can go back through. You can do your sign-in. You can do your pre-test, do your post-test, your evaluation, all from the site. You can print your templates. You can print your PowerPoint. Here's the presentation right here. And you can do all of that and upload your photo of yourself with your visual support and get credit for this course as a self-study. So, and if you do all 10 sessions, then you can get your credit from UAF. So all you'll need to do is complete the registration form, and you'll be able to get your credit, your 500 level credit from UAF. So be sure to do that. And if you could tonight, be sure to do your post-test and your evaluation online. We run off of grant money, so we really need for people to give us the data so that we can keep doing events like this and try and keep the technology going to get this out statewide so that everybody can have access. So if you would please complete your post-test and your evaluation on the site. And also remember, you can email us if you would like a materials kit. We've only had 1 request so far, and I would hope that people would really like to receive the kits. So email us and we can send that out to you, and it'll have everything that you need to complete all 10 projects all in 1 kit. So it'll include your Velcro, it will include cardstock, it will have markers and colored pencils, it will have contact paper for you to be able to laminate things. It will also have postage tape. So all kinds of things in that nice little materials kit, and that's that we get to purchase with donations from the Autism Walk. So it'll be free for you guys. So email us and let us know that you would like a kit, and we'll send that out to you. So thank you everybody for coming. We hope you enjoyed tonight's Make and Take project. And let us know how it goes once you get back and you start using your schedule you made. Email us and call us and let us know how it's going, how it's working for you. If it's not working, call us and tell us what you're having difficulty with. We'll be happy to help in any way we can. And we hope to see you back next month. Bye. Thank you.
Hey, Jackie.
Thank you.
Hey, Jackie.
Yes.